I'm interested to get your sense, both of you. Michael, first to you. This polling we've seen, you've got the character traits polled. Dutton seen as strong, not likeable. Albanese in touch, not as strong. What's your read on that? But in sort of broader terms as well, where the two parties land at the end of 2023.
So at the end of 23, mate, it's very different at the beginning of 23. We know Albo's lost almost 40% in approval rating. Dutton has slowly crept up. I don't think those questions surprised me at all. The answers, that is to say, I don't think they surprised me at all. They don't ask the one question that they should be asking, which is the question about which leader do you respect more? Who do you respect to keep the borders safe, to keep the economy strong, etc.? Federal politics is not about likeability. Otherwise, Malcolm Fraser would never have won an election. In fact, Malcolm Fraser, in the 122 years of this Commonwealth, holds the biggest and second biggest majorities ever in 75 and 77. I knew Malcolm very well. He was an early mentor of mine 40 years ago. Malcolm wasn't all that likeable, to be honest. He was a great politician, great person. But, if you were going to the footy, Malcolm wouldn't have been the first person you would have invited. So it's not about likeability at a federal level. It's about respect. And people respected Howard. They respected Hawke. That's what it's about. And I fear for Albo, they don't respect Albo. They respect Dutton. Even those that don't like him, respect that Dutton can do the job. And once you lose respect at a federal leadership level, you are in very serious trouble, and I think Albo is in very serious trouble.
Stephen Conroy, is that a worry for you, that analysis?
Look, I think what's driving the movements in the polls, and they're obviously something the government should be concerned about, is cost of living, interest rate rises. Petrol prices have been high, they're coming down at the moment. I'm not sure the economic circumstances that have delivered this particular set of pressures today will be evident by the end of next year. You're already seeing the minutes of Reserve Bank today, which show that I think interest rates are going to be going down by the end of next year. I think you look at what's happened in the US, they're already factoring in interest rate decreases. But having said that, the government needs to come out in the new year on the front foot. They've got to have a policy agenda. I suspect Jim Chalmers will prove everybody wrong and deliver another budget surplus. So 2 back in blacks for Jim Chalmers and Labor. So I think there'll be a strong economic narrative. I think the national security issues continue to be front and centre. I think the government will be strong on those. I think the issues around the High Court will begin to be resolved as more people are locked up as they should be. So I think the sort of factors we're seeing right now today will have, ebbed away over the next 12 months.
And Michael, it is not. It's not unusual for a government to have a midterm dip, and I think it'd be almost extraordinary if they didn't, off the back of the disaster that was the referendum, into a long sequence of interest rate rises.
Look, yes, of course, many governments have first-term blues and have a dip and then come back. I just tend to think that I don't think I've ever seen a government, however, as badly dented as the Albanese government has been by The Voice. I mean, never underestimate how much blue-collar support this guy trashed by getting in bed with some of the more extreme Aboriginal activists in this country and demanding a massive change to our constitution, which he tried to portray bizarrely as just a little advisory committee, nothing much to worry about, which was described by others as, of course, monumental. So I think he suffered a hit much, much bigger than I've ever seen by any other federal government, which tend to get a bit directionless midterm after a year or so. They've done the things they wanted to do at the election, and they sort of tend to reach out to try and find something new to implement. But no one's been hit like he's been hit, and I think he's got the weakest treasurer that a federal, government's had.
Back in black. No,
let me tell you this, Stephen. I don't think anyone thinks Jim Chalmers is in charge of the economy. The economy is in charge of Jim Chalmers. Stephen, I don't think Jim's got much to do with the international price of iron ore or coal. Booming mining.
It was all
$20
Swanee's
billion,
fault. It was all Swanee's fault
$20 billion of extra
when
income
the prices
taxes.
collapses. The government couldn't manage the budget when those prices collapsed for Swanee. So when they go down, it's Labor's fault, but when they go up, it's not Labor's credit.
Kieran, the thing that underpins my comment is this: revenues, expenditure, right? Expenditure, a percentage of GDP, is going from 24.5% just before the pandemic to 26% next year. This bloke has lost control of expenditure, and he's there lying in a hammock, you know, luxuriating in the massive increase in personal income taxes and company taxes that are flowing through because of the, you know, bracket creep. I don't think Jim's running much at all, Stephen.
Stephen, you wrap it up before we go, Stephen. Your final thoughts for 2023 on Jim Chalmers.
No, Jim Chalmers is going to deliver a second budget surplus, and the Liberals couldn't do it in 9 years. And that increase in spending all comes off the back of the Liberals' spending in COVID. So to try in any way to blame Jim for that is just farce.
I don't think we'll have to get onto Australia Post looking for the. You won't have to look for the Christmas card, Stephen, for Jim Chalmers to
he's
you,
in the
Mr.
hammock
Kroger.
with the
Gentlemen,
FP, he's got the 30 degree. You know, he's got that.
Merry Christmas, Michael.
Jim.
Merry Christmas.
He's just sitting there.
Merry Christmas to you both, let me say, and Happy New Year. And it's been an absolute treat to have you on this show all year. We'll see you in 2024, gents.
See you then.
Look forward to it, mate. Cheers.